vibration of creation, the cosmic hum. The eternal cyclic rhythm of earth, moon, and sun. Earth song is the ancient conversation between shore and sea. The love ballad between flower and bee. Earth song is the melody of mountains that rise and fall. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to this interview in Embody The Empress, where we're looking at how to blossom and flourish in harmony with the natural world. Today, I am so thrilled to introduce you to Tineke Rensen. So Tineke and I have actually connected a couple of times now, but somehow every time we connect, she's in a different country. So I'm excited, and this is just in a matter of weeks, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So for those of you that haven't had the pleasure of meeting Tineke until now, she's a multi-award-winning businesswoman, best-selling author, long-distance swimmer, mother of two, and a digital nomad. Welcome, Tineke, and thank you so much for being with me.
Hey, Edwina, I'm thrilled to be back with you again and that we are able to connect again.
Yeah. I'm very excited to capture this. So what I want to do is, I feel like the more we can get a picture of the girl that you were that launched herself into womanhood, and just the most pertinent elements of your story that has led you to live the life that you now live and to be doing the work that you now do in the world. I want to start with that period in time when you were launched into womanhood, what you thought you wanted to do, who you believed you were, and we'll just let it roll from there. So if we start wherever feels most intuitively like the starting place, some people it's 16, some people it's 18, some people it's 21. Where do you feel like your identity and your launching into womanhood really began?
Well, a bit sooner, when I was 12. I've always been into sports, so I was very sports minded, sports oriented, and there was when I was a little girl, I wanted to be in my country. It's called Zwarte Piet. We have Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And in my country, he came accompanied with men who were very athletic and always playing and making somersaults and all. So that is what I wanted to be when I was a little kid, until my parents told me the story that this is just a fantasy and it's not a reality story. But then when I was 12, I was a gymnast. So I was doing all these tricks. And I wanted to become a national champion. I always aimed high.
Yeah.
But that dream died when my parents were not willing to support me to move to another town to train with another trainer.
Yeah.
And they said, no, you need to go to school and, what parents do.
Yeah.
They were also not, exactly, having the dream for their kids.
Yeah.
So, but that meant my dream collapsed at that time. And I made a commitment that if I ever will want to achieve something, I have to do it on my own.
Yeah.
And I started studying sports when I was 16. I moved out of the house to move to another town. So I was very young when I was no, it was I was early 17, I think. So I was already there on my own. That's interesting, actually. I connect that dot now. Yeah, doing it on my own. And I graduated. I became a tour guide, a ski instructor, working in various countries when I was 21, moving to Mexico, being a tour guide, living in Austria, in the ski resorts in the Alps in the winter.
Yeah.
And I did that for a couple of years. In the meanwhile, while I was studying sports, I got acquainted with whitewater kayaking. There's a whole story about it. I was not supposed to go kayaking once anymore after I fell down and nearly drowned, turned over in the water. But somehow there were the right people at the right time at the right moment, and they dragged me into the kayak again, and that became my sport. And eventually, I evolved a business around whitewater kayaking, teaching people and taking them with me in the mountains to go kayaking. And that grew. Hiking, mountain biking, rafting, canyoning. So I needed people to help me, so I started to employ people. I had an office. We had too much equipment, so I had a place to store all the equipment. Eventually, I married a whitewater kayaker. Beautiful story. We met in Turkey, but he was from my country. And I got kids, so I started organizing adventure trips for parents with children.
Yeah.
So my business grew, and it just fitted around my life. I ended up in the national champion in the national team of whitewater kayaking, also in the skiing team. So that was an interesting period. No, I first was skiing. I broke my thumb because I was thinking, now I can be the national champion. It wasn't supposed to be gymnastic. It was skiing. And the night before the last run before the actual championships, which were in Switzerland, because if you know the Netherlands, the country I am from, it's flat. We have no mountains, no skiing, no whitewater kayaking. So the skiing was in Switzerland, and the last run I broke my thumb. So at the time when all my teammates were competing, I was in hospital, and I think I was actually on my way back in an ambulance to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that changed.
I love how different our stories are, and you know, the things that happen along the way that shape the decisions that we make. And you know, my experience of sport, I went to a school that was very sports driven, and we did in year 9, we did hiking and skiing and running. We actually ran a marathon at the end of the year, and it traumatized me. All I wanted to do when I left school, I thought, when I'm a grown up and I can make my own decisions, I'm never running again. I'm never doing this again. I'm never, you know. And so my relationship with sport and with exercise is something that I have to make myself do. There's no joy in it except snow skiing. I think I told you when we spoke previously, you know, like my family were skiers, and all I wanted to do was be a ski instructor. I thought if I can live at the snow and be a ski instructor, I trained with the Australian ski team.
Right.
I guess I was.
Oh, interesting.
But my parents were like, no chance, that's not happening. And so that was the, you know, like that shifted. I think they saw the ski instructors, you know, there was a fairly boozy party life that they saw from the outside. Who knows what the reality is, but they were a clear no. So that changed, you know, who knows what would have happened if I had followed that path. But yeah, when I think about, and for the women listening to this, our relationship with so many of the fundamental things of life, our relationship with food, our relationship with exercise and movement, our relationship with nature, all of these things are shaped by the environment that we grow up in.
Yeah.
And then, then life has a plan for us, and invariably things unfold in a way that we end up on track.
Yeah, exactly. With, all these sideways and side roads.
Yeah, the twists
Yeah.
and turns. So you started this extraordinary company. I believe that you hit, like so many people across the globe, hit a roadblock with the great pandemic. So maybe if we dive in there and the consequences of that.
Yeah. Well, eventually I had sold my business because I came across someone who was speaking on a stage of 5,000 entrepreneurs, and I got mesmerized. I was like, I want to be on that stage and being able to influence so many people. So it took a while, but I sold my business within a year. That was another crisis. That was the banking crisis, which started in 2008, but it was still really bad in our country at 2011. And people said, Tineke, don't sell, because they believe you will have to sell. I said, well, if they look at if in my books, they'll see that's not the case, but you won't get a good price. I said, well, I don't want to do it anymore. So
Yeah.
and I sold my business within a year, and I did have a good price. It's like a house. You only need one seller, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that is where I focused on. And in the meantime, I was already training in becoming a public speaker. I was building a new brand. So it was a difficult year because I was running my company, and I was starting a new business at the same time. And there was one thing that was very important to me. I did not want to have a big team anymore. I did not want to have that responsibility, to be the boss and to be responsible for other families.
Yeah. I'm going to interrupt you just for a minute, because I don't think that we didn't give everybody a picture of the company that you built, because it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary what you achieved and what you built and created, what you birthed into the world. When I think about the Empress, and as women, we birth these extraordinary companies, projects, children, all sorts of things into the world. And this is something that you created that had an impact on many, many lives. So just give us a picture of, so that the audience has an idea of the company that you build.
Okay. I had it varied. It was a season company. So in the winter, we were semi-closed. My office was open, but and we were mending all the equipment and cleaning everything. I was working on the website and going to expositions to promote. That's at that time that was the way to promote your business, having ads and going to expos. I actually started my business with a typewriter. Can you believe it? There were no computers when I was starting a business. Did not exist. No cell phone, no email, no website. That was a completely different era.
Yeah.
Somehow it was easier. I had been able to start my business because my network was so big in the tourist industry. So my first clients were the tour operators that I had been working for. They started sending me their clients. Yeah. So all of a sudden, I became a contractor of their companies. Interesting. So I had always had a good network, always did a good job also, and always did my best. I stood out, and that's what people saw. Yeah. I was employing 5 full-time people, and I had a group of people who were self-employed. No, it didn't exist at the time, actually. They were interns and they were helping at the time when needed. But there was a summer, my last summer, that I had 25 people running around in 4 different countries and 6 different locations. So I could not go on holiday in the summer because it was my peak season. So my kids and no, I wasn't divorced at the time. So yeah, I worked. I went to the office at 6:30 in the morning. I came home at 11 when they woke up, and then I had all day with my kids. Because it was summer holiday. They were at home. Yeah. So those were tough times. But I also like remembering those times because I got home with fresh bread and the pastries that they liked. We had breakfast on the balcony and planning like, okay, what are we going to do today? And yeah, that was nice. There were some I could do that because there were cell phones, so I could be out. And yeah, it really made a big shift, and at that time we had no smartphones, so there was no people could only call me. That was easy.
Yeah,
But yeah, I sold.
Don't carry a phone with you everywhere. It's amazing
I know.
how different our lives have become.
Yeah. But then, yeah, I sold the company and then I started a consulting business. So I started consulting female entrepreneurs, helping them to scale and grow the business because I lived in a bubble and I only had male competitors. So I was not aware about what women were doing in business. But once I sold my business and became a member of some business networks, women networks, I was shocked by what I saw. I was like, wow, they don't build a business. They stay at home and that was I was being shocked because I was a very masculine businesswoman, and that is probably why I had been able to build the business so successfully. A very goal-oriented, the sports mentality, there was never a no, there was always a way, a lot of discipline, even when I had the kids. When I was at work, the kids were not my priority. Then it was work. But when I was with my kids, the kids were priority, and I sometimes didn't answer the calls, so I was able to separate that. And then I noticed how difficult it was for women, for other women to separate that, and also to have the confidence to really grow big and take on the responsibility of a business. Yeah, and that is what I started helping women with. Expanded with an international business women's club for women who build businesses. Because all of a sudden, if you have a business, if you have a team, if you have an office, things start to change within you, within your business. So different problems arise. And there are other problems than when you work on your own and run from home, your coaching business or any other business. And yeah, that grew, and that became an international network because a lot of my clients were doing business internationally, like I was, which I've always been into. And then people said, "Oh, you have an international business?" I said, yeah. We have no mountains in the Netherlands, so it makes sense that I go to other countries, to the Alps. And then COVID hit, and that is really what changed the course of my life, but also the course of my business and me as a person, because that's always connected. Who I am as a businesswoman and who I am as a mom. I was not traveling anymore. I was at home cooking every night, so I started losing weight. I became more relaxed. I had a lot of time with my children, so that changed. and the business network collapsed. I could not speak on stages anymore. And that was my main income stream, not the speaking, but the selling from stage. So it dried up. And when COVID was finished, I was all excited to relaunch again, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
All the things that worked before COVID, they didn't work anymore. And yeah, throughout COVID, both my children severely suffered of the aftermath of the pandemic, you know, the loneliness, the not being able to go to school. So they had difficult teenage years, pretty difficult. And I had divorced in the meantime. And yeah, somehow I did not have the enthusiasm anymore to put my shoulders around it and roll up my sleeves and here we go again. So I didn't do anything, and I just waited, and thought, you know, probably life has another plan with me. If things are not working, there's something else. There's something I'm not seeing, and I don't know what.
Yeah.
And it took more than 2 years, so that was challenging, you know, because I was not used to not doing. Action, masculine, making things happen, forcing things. I was not used to relax, wait, see what happens, go with the flow, trust, all the feminine aspects. But I had to. I spent all my money, all my savings, so it became challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The universe delivers. The universe delivers. It's like there's a lesson here that you've got to learn.
Yeah, but I'm a hard listener. Yeah, I'm very stubborn and I'm very in my mind. So it's the surrendering part is the most challenging part. And every new phase I enter, that is the part that is stopping me from moving to the next level, to the next level.
Yeah.
Surrendering, go with the flow.
And you're not alone. And I know that there's going to be women listening to this. I know I've got clients and I'm thinking of you. They'll know who they are. But this, you know, I did a leadership training in the US in 2019. And the one word that they kept giving me, it's like, what's the one thing that I need? The one word they kept giving me was surrender. You have to learn to surrender. This feeling of like, but I've got to hang on to it. Like, I've got to be the one that makes it happen. I've got to be, you know, having been a single mother with 4 children for years, and like it felt like everything was up to me. And learning that surrender piece, learning that you do your bit and then allow the universe to take over. That's a hard thing, especially when you've got no connection with universal energy. That was another thing that I had to learn.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. The big learning curve.
But it's interesting because it makes sense. We both had a similar experience when our ambitions were cut off by our parents, and we were not able to go through life at that time what we intrinsically felt that we needed to do. So I think it wasn't only. Yeah, I think that connection might have been cut off at the same time.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. Absolutely.
Because we had to become the masculine woman to make it all work, and being a single mom is also very difficult, waiting and see what's going to happen. You know, you feel the pressure and you feel you need to be there, so then you step into the masculine, I think, and that is the providing role, and that is the being the breadwinner. So it makes sense, and many women have to do that, but from allowing the feminine and the softness to enter, and opening for that connection. And I was always a spiritual person, but I wasn't guided, because I wasn't connected. And I'm not guided in a way that I have spirit angels. That's not my way, but it's more connecting with my inner self, and through that connected with everything and everybody. And I have learned that connection goes through water, because that is what I eventually do. Yeah. So I've eventually found out through a long learning curve in these 2 years, starting multiple new businesses as well.
Yeah.
None of them worked.
Yeah.
Haha. That wasn't funny, but I can look at it back now like, haha. I wonder why.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing.
Yes. Yeah, but being in the midst of it, that really wasn't funny. And seeing your bank account decreasing really wasn't nice. But water has been knocking on my door all along. And you said I'm a long distance swimmer. I became a national champion whitewater kayaking when I was 38. I was already a mom. I was pregnant of my second one, but nobody knew at the time. It was very premature. And so, yeah, all of a sudden there was, I'm losing my story because there was another download coming through. And then I want to pay attention to that, but that's gone as well.
The roundabout way that you learnt your connection with water and the role.
Yes, thank you. I was into the Wim Hof method. He's a guy from the Netherlands, and he's world famous for being the Iceman, swimming underneath ice and teaching people all around the world, being in cold water and how healthy that is for your body and all your systems and organs. So I did that a whole year. Every morning at 5:30, my alarm went. I was still married. I walked to the river. I went for a swim, no matter how cold it was, and I walked back. And then I took a bath, and then my family woke up. So that was my morning routine, and it was amazing. It really helped me through the time that I was making the decision, shall I divorce or shall I not divorce? Being in nature really helped me, and being in nature always helps. I'm looking outside now, and I'm in Vietnam, in Hanoi, in the capital city, and there's buildings all around me, and I love to look outside and see the mountains or the river. Although the river is very close, it's 20 meters, so I need to be near water. Yeah. So water was knocking on my door. And I discovered I can energize water. And I always have coaches who help me, support me. I've always been able to invest in that. That's always been one of my highest values. Having support, having a support system, travel, family, and personal development. I think that's very, very, very important. Yeah. And now I take people with me in the water. I help them heal through water.
I want to, before we dive in there, I want to go. You have a wonderful story about how you learnt about your, you went back to I remember you telling the story of going back to somewhere where you scuba dived, and then like that was one of the first experiences you had of understanding your connection with water. So I would love you to tell that story.
Yeah, that was in Mexico, and when I was 24, I worked as a tour guide in Mexico for I think 5 or 6 months. That was before I had my own business. It was the last year working as a tour guide, and I had never seen a coral reef. I think at the time I had never been diving. I had never been snorkeling. So the first time I met the undersea world and below the water surface, I was mesmerized. I was like, and I can now look back at it that I was coming home at the time, but that's not my awareness from back then. But somehow I've been a mermaid or in one lifetime, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I really felt at home, but it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. The colors, the flocks of fish, all the different fish. The underwater world is so magnificent. So I was always looking forward to my trip and taking people there snorkeling, which was once every 2 weeks. And I started scuba diving there. I took my PADI dive license there. So I can now dive on my own. No, you always go with a buddy, but not with an instructor. And my coach lives in Mexico. So I always thought, if she's going to organize something in Mexico, I'm going to go back, because that to me, that made a lot of sense. And that was in 2023 in October. And snorkeling was one of the trips. And I was like, whoa, yes, we go back again. And, yeah. Because I was more into water at the moment, still not being aware that I can energize water. And so we went to on the trip. I went in the water and I was shocked by what I saw. And I was crying underwater. You know, you have your snorkel mask and your I don't know the name.
Well, must snorkel. That's the snorkel, isn't it? The bit.
Oh yeah, the snorkel. Yeah. And it was gray. It wasn't, and there were very few fish. And I was like, oh no, this is the dead coral I've been hearing about. And now it really hit me. And at the time I felt sad, and all of a sudden, all the knowledge I have about water and everything that built around me through water started to fall into places. I was like, oh, but what if I can somehow instruct the water to help the coral to grow again? Because water has a memory. Nature has a self-restoring capacity. Water helps, what's the name? Energy. It transfers energy through water. Because I knew when we were kayaking, you were never allowed on the lake or on the river when it was lightning and when there was thunder. Because when lightning strikes, it travels 5 kilometers far, and it will kill you if you're in that in that area. So that's why you always need to be out of the water, because it just travels, and it kills people. So I thought, but if it carries lightning, maybe it also carries my Reiki energy. I did Reiki when I was a lot younger. And I always kept that for myself and for my kids, to help them heal or to help them sleep. But I never practiced it. So I thought, you know what? I'm not going to snorkel because there's nothing to see in my world. Other people had a great time because for them it was beautiful. So there you see, it's perception and what's your experience. I was expecting something else. And I started closing my eyes, put my hands out, and just started talking through my mind with the water, and like, oh wow, you know, this, I can see the state you're in, and I really feel for you, and how you know what it was like. Water, I have a task for you, you know, help the coral because it helps you. You're in this together. I know you're warm, but it's okay. And I was just doing this, and I was talking and talking. I had never talked to water before. And at some point I thought, I don't know, something happening. So I was curious, and I opened my eyes, and then I saw all these fish around me, different colors, fish that weren't there before. I had seen, say, 10, 15, there were hundreds around me. And I was like, oh yay, what is this? There is something happening here around me, and they feel the energy. I noticed. I thought a big, and there were, I had my hands out like this, and I was lying face down, and there was a fish here, there was a fish here, and there was a fish here, 3 underneath each other, piling up to get as close to the energy as possible. And I was mesmerized, but also then I was immediately into my mind, and I was like, oh no, this is not me, this is strange, and this is too overwhelming, and this is woo-woo. So I swam away. I was afraid. And then I started reasoning with myself. I was like, hey, Tineke, you've conquered the biggest rivers, the biggest waterfalls. You were the first the female descendant on Colorado River through the canyon. You did all these expeditions, and now you're swimming away because and I got curious. I was scared, but also curious, and curiosity took over. So I did it again, and the same happened. I swam away, thought, okay, this is interesting. And I did it again, and the same happened 4 times. And yeah, I started talking about this on Facebook during the retreats. And I said, you know what? I'm going to discover this, and who wants to join me on a trip? And immediately someone said yes. So I sold a retreat in Bali, and I had never done water healing. I had never done, I've never been to Bali. I had never done a retreat, but, I knew, I've been in tourism all my life. I've been organizing adventures all my life. I can do that. Yeah. And she immediately booked. She booked before I even had the trip to Bali. I said, I give you the itinerary next week. And the same happened in Bali, because I took people on a snorkeling trip, of course, because I wanted them to experience the various kinds of water. The pool at our retreat villa, every morning we did water healing sessions. I took them to a waterfall, which is sweet water, and something remarkable happens when you take a shower, you feel energized. People don't understand why this is the case. They just accept it. And I'll explain why after I finish this story. Yeah. But when you're underneath a waterfall and it's the nature's force and power knocking on your head, it's just impossible to think. Mm-hmm. And that was an amazing experience. But also for my group, the mind was clear. Oh. And it only needs to be a few minutes for you to recalibrate and your body to experience what it is to not being directed by the mind, and to just be in nature, in the water. Yeah, and when we went snorkeling, we did this exercise again, and we hold hands all together, and the fish started swimming in our circle. So then I knew, this is definitely something. Yeah.
I love this story, and I told my husband this story because he's a fish, he's a merman.
All right.
Lives in the ocean, and I knew he'd be fascinated. But what I wanted to just really bring forward for the audience, for the women listening, is this willingness to just hear the nudge, because I think I believe that we get these nudges in our lives and so often dismiss them because it makes us feel stupid, or it makes us feel weird, or what would people think, or is and this series is full of amazing stories, all different, but there's this thread of willingness to be a beginner, willingness to go, well, maybe there's something in this. Let's just play with it. Another one of the beautiful speakers in this series, Gloria, who does a cacao ceremony with us, she talks about the universe is our home and the earth is our playground. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's I like that. So if Mother Earth is providing this playground, playgrounds are a place for new experiences, for trust, for adventure, for, and so what you sharing that story, I am so grateful that you share that story, because it gives that sense of like something, there's always a possibility in something that feels different, something that feels woo-woo, something that feels like people might think I'm weird or strange.
Oh, yeah.
If you stay with it, there could be complete magic on the other side, which is what's happened for you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I love what you say, being the beginner.
Mm.
I really didn't like that, you
No,
know.
most of
I
us
really didn't like that.
don't.
And I'm still discovering this
Yeah.
is not such a long time ago, eh? So it's like 1.5 year.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I am called by the water. I now know that.
Mm.
And I've seen but hold on, one thing here, my coach was really important. She challenged me like, okay, Tineke, now you can heal people through water. What are you going to do? I said, well, nothing. She said, come on. So yeah, I said, but where can I do this? She said, figure it out.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I was teaching swimming at the time to make a little extra money because, you know, I was running out of savings, and I was a sports teacher, so I could teach swimming. I was also qualified. And uh, I said, okay, I might be able to do that in the pool. But then immediately I felt, no, that water and all the noise and the area is not serene and tranquil enough. And I thought, okay, maybe a whirlpool. So I went to bed with the thought, okay, I want to know. And you know, yeah, that's, you always hear that. If you want answers, ask them before you go to sleep. So I did. And I woke up in the morning and I thought, okay, and then I thought a whirlpool. But okay, so I started researching. They have 5,000 euro. Oh, I didn't have that money anymore. Um, so I thought, okay. And then I found you have self-inflatable ones. They were 350 euro. That was the kind of money I thought, well, I'm not willing to spend that at the moment. But here I make a commitment. If within 2 days I make that money without nothing, out of nothing, I'll buy it. And this is when the universe starts providing, eh? We always say the universe provides. It only does when you're on your path.
Yeah.
And it doesn't when you want it, when you think you need it. So that's something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had that money within 1 day. So I bought it, and my coach said, okay, now what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. So I was like, how can I speak on LinkedIn, of all places? that I have become a water healer.
Yeah.
The multi-award winning businesswoman, the national sports champion, and I was like, oh, that really took some nerves. But
I love
immediately,
it. I love
yeah, but the thing is, then people don't join you because of what you do, but because who you are.
it.
That is what I noticed. People who had done women who had done business coaching with me came because they wanted this healing session.
Mm.
And that was an interesting epiphany.
Yeah.
And I was doing a business scaling session after we did the water healing session in the water, but then they were at a totally different place.
Yeah.
They were a different person, because what happens when people enter water that is coherent, you have water, coherent state is a state that everything in nature is striving for. And it is when all the molecules are harmoniously vibrating, which is a tranquil vibration.
Yeah.
And it's the natural state if nature is completely in balance. It's also our natural state, but it never is coherent, our body. Because we have all these thoughts about ourselves and about the world, beliefs, fears, anxieties, points of views.
Yeah.
But I can make the water coherent, and the coherent water then starts to influence your energy field, because your energy field is in the water. It's in my little whirlpool. So it starts to resonate, and there's a natural law. The highest frequency always enhances the lowest frequencies. When you enter a room full of people, and the people who have a lot of energy, they draw people towards them. The same happens with the water molecules. And that is why, let's go back to the story of the shower. That is why you feel so energized after you have a shower. Your energy field is cleansed. The water molecules in your body, they resonate and vibrate with the neutral water of the shower. It has no thoughts, the water of the shower. It has no limiting beliefs. It's not angry. It's not sad. It just is. And that is what happens when you take a shower. And that is why you feel so energized. But also, that effect never lasts. Because then we go down, we have an argument, or we need to make breakfast, or we need to rush, or there is a phone call. And immediately we're back to where we were before we had a shower.
Yeah, I always find my shower time is when all the best thoughts come through.
But now you understand why, because you are connected to the person you're supposed to be. You go back to a coherent state for a little while.
In harmony with the natural world. That's, like
exactly. Because our resonance communication goes through water. There's a web of water all around us. There's water. You breathe water, and you can see it when you're outside in the cold air. You see the vaporizing effect of the water, the what you blow out. We are all water. 70% of our body is water. You are. I am. We also now resonate through time and space, from Vietnam to Australia, through our nonverbal communication. And that goes through water molecules all around us. It's in animals, it's in nature, it's in a lot of stuff has water. So that is how we connect with everything, anything, and everybody. And this has not been scientifically proven, but I have gotten that knowledge. And it makes so much sense because water is a liquid crystal. And a crystal, when coherent, and crystals are coherent, they send out energy and they take your energy. Crystals heal. So we have this powerful crystal within our body, a liquid crystal. And that is how we are all connected with one another. That is how we communicate with one another on a vibrational level.
I'd never thought of it like that.
No. I watched something, we have 3 phases of water. There's actually a 4th phase that has been discovered. And that is the phase, and it's called easy water. It's a process that happens in all our cells, because most of our cells have water, whether it's hair, whether it's your nose, whether it's blood. Blood has a lot of water. When infrared light enters our body, and it's always around us, we don't even need the sunlight, but it's better, enters our body, there's a part of the water that becomes, that's the molecules of O2, O and H2 are separated. And it changes into H3, O2. It's still the same substance, but the negative parts of the water, the H, they move all to one side, and the positive all move to the other side. And then it becomes a magnet.
Okay, my brain's gone.
Yeah. I learned this yesterday, and I think this is the most fascinating, because then that is how we attract. That is, and this is cutting edge science, and it you know, if these scientists speak about this in the world, they're being blasphemized.
Yeah.
It's because it's too unheard of. But this is how we attract, through our water. And I knew this. I have all these downloads about water, and I connect a lot of dots because I know so much. I love facts.
Yep.
I mean, I think I haven't told you this, but I am diagnosed with autism.
Yeah.
And then you facts. Oh man, I love facts.
Yeah.
But now it becomes really handy because I see things other people don't see, because I connect so many dots, because I remember so much.
Yeah.
So it's really a blessing.
Yeah. And I'm quite convinced that all these syndromes that have become and escalated, pathologize something that is possibly just, anyway, I'll be walking on
yeah, it's highly sensitive.
I
when you're highly sensitive, you need to somehow protect yourself.
Yeah. But the pathologizing of all these things, and then the medicating, and then the dulling down, and like, what are we playing with here? But that's another conversation.
Definitely.
So I know you've got a beautiful meditation for us. I do want to just get you. I know we're going to be running a little bit low on time because it's been such a beautiful conversation. But there's one more story. I love your stories. There's one more story of you when the first time that we talked, and you were in the Netherlands and you were living in a tent at that stage, the digital nomad. I don't know how much of that story's really come through, but you were living in the tent at that stage, and I still remember the light and the tent behind you. I was just like, this
yeah.
But you were by a river, and you were telling me a story of swimming in the river with the logs. You've got to share story because it's so good.
Yes. I was actually traveling with my car through Spain and Portugal, camping, because for those of you who don't know, I've rented out my house deliberately because I want to be and live near water. And I had a little pond in my garden that was not big enough. So camping makes it easier. I have a caravan, and that's on a campsite near water. But in the winter, I am not in my country because it's too cold. I don't like it. I want more light. And now I know why. Yeah, it has more effect on our body than we knew. So I was living next to a tidal river, the border between Portugal and Spain, and the water goes up and the water goes down, and it goes up and it goes down, and there's all these branches and logs floating up and down, and when I started swimming, I always started whatever direction the river was going, but upstream, so that when I would go back, it would be easier, and then it would be half the time. And it was the wrong timing. There were all the logs and all the branches were coming floating towards me. And I was like, this is not going to be nice. So I have to swim all the way through. And I had been meditating in the morning, and I had been practicing water bending because I want to be able to water bend, move water with your energy, with your minds and connective energy. So it didn't work. I still can't do it, but I have seen people doing it, so I know it's possible. And I thought, you know what? I might be able to bend the water when I'm in the water. Who knows? So I became playful again. And I thought, okay, so why not ask water if it can move the logs all around me? So I don't have to go zigzag. It saves me time. It's easier. And it's more relaxed for my mind. So I did. And there was this big white thing floating towards me, and it was coming towards me. And one thing that is extremely important, if you set your intention to achieve something, that is stay in trust, stay in faith, and being able to hold the line. Being able. no matter what happens, no matter what happens. So that branch came towards me, and it came towards me. No matter what happens, I had faith. No matter what happens, I had faith. There was no evidence it was going to hit me. There was no evidence. Have faith, no matter what. And just, it was like this close to me. All of a sudden, a little tiny wave came, and it flipped the course of the log. And I tried this, and then I thought, coincidence. And the same would happen with the fish in Mexico. I thought, I'll try it again, and it worked. It worked all the time. I thought, this is easy. And then I thought, okay, why can I also then make a log come towards me and hit me? And it was 20 meters away from me. It would have flowed past me. And I saw it changing direction. I was, no, this is not happening. Have faith, no matter what happens. And it just didn't touch me this much. So it came floating towards me. And I was like, but you have to be in the right energy. I tried it another time when I was not in that state of mind, and then it didn't work.
Yeah.
So that's also interesting. So yeah, I am learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beginner energy, but that's some fairly hefty audacity. To stay the course with a log coming at you, I'm completely impressed. That's amazing.
But I emphasize on having trust and having faith regardless of the evidence. That is how you create and manifest. Yeah. When you set your intention, you are the only person, if you set an intention, who can manifest it. Yeah. But when life gets in the way, and mostly that's situations and thoughts and other people, then you need to hold the line. You need to have faith and trust no matter what. No matter what, even if there's no evidence, even if the evidence is against you, have faith. And if you can do that, that is very important to manifest and create.
I talk about the 3 levels of creation as being thoughts, words, and deeds. Once you think it, that's what you speak, and then what you do, it all comes together, but it starts with the thoughts. Anyway. So you've got a beautiful meditation for us. Is there anything that I haven't brought forward that you feel like we need to know before we dive in there?
Well, during the meditation, I will help you connect with the water cells in your body. So I will guide you through communicating with the water cells in your body, enhancing its energy, and setting an intention for something.
Okay, beautiful. So I'm going to hand everything over to you, and I will be back.
Are you ready? Yes? Okay, good. I want everybody, I'm talking to you, Edwina, now, but I know when this is being broadcasted, it's all the listeners and all the participants. And I invite you to close your eyes now. And if you're not in a quiet place, maybe you would like to move, or maybe you would need to close doors, shut off your cell phone so that you will not be disturbed. And you can hit pause if you need to take some arrangements to make sure that you will not be disturbed. Okay, I'm going to close my eyes too. And take a few deep breaths. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. And let it go through your belly. Hold it there, the breath. Hold it there. And breathe out through your mouth and hold. 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 And breathe in. And hold. And breathe out. And one more time. And relax. Let go of all your thoughts. And see if there is one thing that you would like to happen. Something that maybe you want to achieve today, or something that's important for you, something that you've been willing to do, to create, for you to happen in your life. And connect with that. And now go inside your body and visualize all this water in your cells, in your body, water molecules in your body vibrating. And you can visualize it in any way you want. And from that connection, you start to move your attention outside of your body. Connect with the water around you, in the air. The water molecules in your body, they are communicating with the water cells around you. The same cells. And expand this connection and go wider. Go wider and connect with the water in your house. There's water in your pipelines. You might have flowers in a vase. Maybe you have fish. Connect with all the water in your house. And now you're going to expand your attention. And I'm connecting with all the water too. And I'm releasing anything. So if you see me yawn or burp, that's just energy that needs to be removed. Connect with the water outside of your house. Travel through your area in your mind's eye and see where there is a lake or a river, a pond, maybe the sea or the ocean, and connect with that. Just visualize that your water cells are in connection with that big, vast surface of water. And feel how it's home there. And now visualize the earth. It has 70% of water, just like your body. It's also a body, nature's earth, 70%. Connect with all that water, all the water on our planet. Water just is. All the water in the universe. All the water. Connect with everything. Feel how the water in your body is resonating and communicating with everything. You might start to feel sensations in your body. I just felt the waves of the ocean in my body. And now go back to that intention for today or something that you want to happen. And just put that in the water. See it playing out in the water. Don't go in your mind. Just visualize. And you can even ask water a question. What do I need? Is there something I have not been seeing? Water knows. It's been on this planet for billions of years. It's watched everything, witnessed it all. And it's within everybody, so you have access to all that knowledge and wisdom. It's right there. And you don't, this is not a knowing thing. You don't need to know. This is not the language of the mind. Water does not speak to your mind. It's the language of resonance, and you can speak it, because it was the first language that you spoke when you were in your mom's womb. You were covered in water. When you were 16 weeks old in your mom's womb, you could hear the water, and you've heard it until you were born. So it is a language you can speak and understand and feel and resonate. Just reconnect with it. And ask your question again. Set your intention again and trust. And answers may come in all kinds of things. Something you see, something you feel, something you hear, something catches your eye. Just let go of the how. That is the action in the masculine. Creation is in the feminine. Releasing a lot of masculine here. And see if you can see a fountain somewhere, a fountain that you know. A fountain where you've been. Maybe you even have one in your home. These little fountains. The sound, the energy it spreads into your room. It's lively, it's energetic. And just see as if your intention is coming to fruition with the fountain. It spills it, all the water in the air. There's your creation. It's blossoming. It's coming into play. And connect with it. What do you see? How do you feel? Maybe you smell something. Connect with it. Do you hear sounds? Is there a specific sensation? Feel how it feels that this is happening. You're in the middle of it. It's your creation. It's happening. You're in it now. It's there. You're being it. Just enjoy it one more time. Okay, and slowly get back to your own water cells in your body. Thank all the water, because it's you making that connection. You are all the water. You're one with all the water. That's your powerful creation force. Your liquid crystal within your body. Put your hands on your heart and anchor it in your heart. Feel it there. And slowly we're going to go back. Take 3 more deep breaths in. Okay. And you may open your eyes.
Thank you so much.
I got really warm doing that, holding the space for all and connecting with all. Beautiful. Wow.
Very special.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
That is a gift all by itself. I know you have another little offering for our audience. Do you want to just take a minute to let them know what it is? And then I've got one final question.
Okay. Do you want to know how to energize your own water?
Yeah.
Because it's very important when you drink water that you drink water of the highest energy possible, which is not your tap water, but you can enhance the energy in your tap water. And I have a PDF, and in the PDF, I explain how you can revitalize the water so that it's getting its life force energy. Water gets life force energy through sunshine, through the bends, the flow water makes, the natural flow, and through current.
Yeah.
And our pipe system doesn't have bends. It goes like that.
Yeah.
It has no sunshine. It has no light. So it's life force energy that water naturally contains when it's in nature. It's gone.
Yeah.
And you can reinstall that. And I have a PDF. It's free. And you are going to provide the link. And yeah, that's where people can start to download it. It's on my website, waterhealing.eu. And start energizing the water that you drink, because when you drink water that has life force energy, it also affects the water molecules in your body on a vibrational level. But that is the language of water. You don't hear it talk to you, but you can feel it resonating. And over time, if you continue to do this, your water molecules in your body start to vibrate differently. Yeah. And that's a gift you can give yourself. You can also drink water from a bottle, buy it in the supermarket. It has plastic, but the water in your tap has chloride. So
well, I'm a big fan of having a filter. It's one of the just one of the non-negotiables in my, but
very good.
Yeah. So my final question for you, and thank you for that beautiful gift. I'm excited to look at it and learn more. But my final question is, where are you and what are you doing when you feel that sense of complete inner peace, joy, and harmony with the world around you?
Where am I? I am. It's not where. I am.
Okay.
Yeah. And connected.
Yeah.
It's getting colder again. Yes, Vietnam doesn't have the temperature I anticipated. And the room doesn't get warmer than, I think, 18, 19 degrees.
I'm so grateful to you for making the time while you're on holiday, while you're moving around in Vietnam. It's been really special. It's been an amazing conversation, and your experience was really, really special. So thank you so much for being with us, Tineke.
You're welcome.
All right. All right, beautiful souls. That is it from us for another interview in Embody the Empress. And I am so, so excited to share with you what's coming next. All right, that's it from me today. So much love and bye.
Bye-bye.